There's a difference between a doctor making a recommendation and a decision being taken out of your hands. Most people assume they'll always have the final say when it comes to their own body. They don't think about what happens when that control starts to shift. Because by the time you realize it, you're already in it. In Jacksonville, Florida, inside the University of Florida Health, a Black woman named Cherise Doyley walked into the hospital to give birth to her fourth child. She came to the hospital with a clear plan. Cherise told the doctors that she would agree to a C-section only if it became necessary. But after she refused surgery more than once, the hospital escalated the decision-making process. A nurse brought in a bedsheet for her to cover up with, and then a supervisor brought in a tablet. And on that screen, there were doctors, attorneys, and a judge. All while Cherise was still in labor, while she was still hooked up to monitors, and while her body was still trying to deliver her child. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, with no warning, and from a hospital bed, she was pulled into a court hearing about whether or not a surgery could happen against her will. And at one point, Cherise asked for a Black doctor. She said there was no one Black with specific experience of Black mothers in labor in the room. And there was no one Black on the screen. And instead of that request being seriously considered, it was questioned. This interruption is called control disguised as care. It looks like concern, all while power is moving away from the patient. This wasn't just a medical disagreement. Once a judge entered the room, the conversation changed. Now her decision wasn't just being questioned, it was being put on trial. And in Florida, this is the part that makes pregnancy so dangerous. Because in Florida, a patient can say no. However, during pregnancy, that refusal can still be challenged against the mother's will. So now care is no longer just care. It becomes legal pressure. And when a Black woman asks for someone who better understands her experience, even that request can be treated like it doesn't matter. So the real question is this: at what point does medical care stop feeling like care and start feeling like pressure? And if you say no, but they keep pushing, is that still your choice?